You have a universe of movies in your pocket. Music, games, and instant connection are always within reach. Yet for many, the dominant feeling of the modern day is a strange, persistent boredom. This isn't the heavy weight of sadness. It is a thinning of experience, a state where you have everything to do, but no desire to do any of it. We often assume life has simply become less interesting. In reality, our brains have adapted to a level of input that the physical world was never designed to provide. By filling every gap in our day with digital media, we have conditioned our minds to demand constant, high-speed input. When that flow slows down, even for a second, we are left feeling restless and hollow. Take Ryan. He's 24, has a steady job, and a phone full of apps. From the outside, his life is full, but every evening he encounters the same wall of indifference. He spends hours scrolling through streaming libraries and social feeds, only to put the phone down feeling more drained than when he started. The infinite options haven't made him happier, they've made them numb. Ryan's day is a seamless relay of media. He checks his notifications before getting out of bed, he watches videos over breakfast, listens to podcasts on his commute, and scrolls through news at lunch. Silence is effectively non-existent in his routine. This creates a cycle called the stimulation loop. It begins when chronic overstimulation trains the brain to expect instant rewards. Because digital content arrives with zero friction, your brain stops practicing the act of waiting. This sets a new, hyper-fast baseline for your attention. The moment that instant gratification stops, your brain perceives the lack of stimulation as a crisis, triggering immediate boredom and a sharp loss of interest in your surroundings. To escape that discomfort, you reach for even faster, more aggressive forms of media. You chase a stronger hit of dopamine just to feel normal. But the cycle eventually ends in a state of exhaustion, where nothing feels satisfying. Filling every spare second with a screen might feel like you're staying entertained, but the trade-off is the slow erosion of your ability to tolerate the quiet, necessary pace of real life. Modern digital media is designed for high-velocity processing. It relies on fast cuts, saturated colors, and constant novelty to keep you from looking away. It is an environment of extreme, artificial density. Compare that to a sunset. The sun moves at the same speed it always has. It doesn't offer a new data point every 3 seconds. For a brain calibrated to high-speed digital noise, the natural world starts to feel agonizingly slow. This mismatch makes basic tasks feel like a chore. You find you can't eat a meal without a secondary screen, or walk to your car without headphones. The simple act of waiting in a quiet room becomes a source of anxiety. When the brain becomes dependent on immediate pleasure, it loses the stamina required for the things that lead to genuine fulfillment. Skills take time. Fitness takes months. Relationships take years. They cannot compete with the speed of a scroll, so they are often the first things we give up on. One evening, Ryan was out at a restaurant with his friends. There was laughter and conversation all around him, but he found himself staring at his phone under the table. Even though he was surrounded by people he cared about, he felt completely detached. He noticed that having the ability to be entertained at any moment had made it nearly impossible to be present. The more he tried to find something interesting on his screen, the further away the actual evening felt. This frustration pointed toward a different approach. If the constant search for entertainment was making him miserable, perhaps the solution wasn't more content, but a deliberate period of silence. Ryan decided to try a reset. He spent his first hour the next morning without any digital devices. There was no music, no morning news, and no infinite scrolling. Initially, he felt a frantic urge to check his notifications, a physical restlessness that made the minutes feel like hours. But as he sat with that boredom, the internal noise began to quiet. Without a flood of cheap dopamine, his brain's sensitivity started to return. He began to notice the subtle details of his environment that he had been ignoring for years. After a few days, the world seemed to regain its texture. A simple walk felt peaceful. A conversation felt significant. By removing the constant overstimulation, he hadn't lost anything. He had simply regained the ability to experience what was already there. You don't need a more exciting life to find joy. You may just need to allow your brain the space to be bored. Boredom acts as a recalibration, lowering the noise until the small, meaningful moments of your life are visible again.